welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the good, the bad, and the story, where we talk about, well, the good, the bad, and the story. My name is Brent, and I'm rocking the hat today because I'm going to get my hair cut later. Seriously, look at that. Bad. Terrible. So, anyways, today we're here to talk about The Good Dinosaur, the newest film from Pixar, which for most of us is like Christmas before Christmas. So let's get started with the good here. Jaw-dropping vistas and visuals. It's kind of goes without saying that a Pixar film is beautiful right now, at the very least aesthetically. They are masters at Pixar. There's a reason why the animation award, the best animated picture award, is called the Pixar Award, even though that's not quite true nowadays. Now that DreamWorks now that DreamWorks is starting to catch up, and Disney Animation is actually having kind of a new comeback as well. But it's so gorgeous. There were moments I went to go see it with my roommate, and there were 10 to 15 different shots where I literally had to look over. I was like, man, is this animated? Like, it's so gorgeous and realistic. It looks real. All the vistas and the canyons and the mountains and the rocks, and even when you get up close to the little leaves and stuff, it's so much great little detail that makes it look real, and you just can't believe that it's computer animated. It's absolutely something spectacular. I would say it's worth a matinee price on that alone, although if you're here, I'm assuming you already saw that and you already know that. It's really something special. It has a pretty good message overall. We'll talk about that more in the story category, and they actually do a fairly good job at handling that. Of course, being a family movie, you can always expect a couple of gut-busting funny parts, especially with Pixar able to tackle both adult and kid matter, and just being able to translate that to an audience of all ages. There are a bunch of really great jokes in here and great gags. Not nearly as much as I come to expect from them at this point, but it's still really great. I was laughing out loud pretty much most of the time, except during the sad parts, which brings us on to the next part. Pixar, they are still Pixar, in the sense that you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jesse's scene from Toy Story 2. I'm talking about the opening of Up. I'm talking about I'm talking about the Riley coming home from Inside Out. Pixar is still the master at this, and if you saw the movie, and by the way, these things are just going to be spoilerific all the way. These are not really reviews; they're more just analyses of what goes on. I know that should kind of go without saying, but just so you know, spoilers and stuff. But the part where Spot has to go back to his family, or what I'm assuming is his family, and Arlo pushing him to go, but instead of that scene can be done so cheaply in another movie, where it's just he says, "Go, get out of here, Spot. I don't want you anymore. Go, be with your family. Come on." And then it's all happy and stuff and reunited with the family moment. That's what a cheaper film does. Pixar never does that. And the moment there was really, really special. And it's a really great writing and planning out moment to use the circle as a symbolism for family in the sand earlier in the film, and then to bring that back for the finishing moment so that you get across without even having to talk. And that whole sequence is probably the most touching part of the film. I was crying, my friend was crying, everybody in the theater was crying, and not a word was spoken. And that's why Pixar is Pixar, and everyone else is still everyone else. Not to say anyone else is bad, but they really are special. They really, really know how to get the emotional, really how to hit the emotions. And on that note, there are a lot of nice little clever moments that I really liked. For instance, the egg scene at the very beginning when they're hatching. It's meant to be kind of if you know this kind of basic story, 3 eggs, and then one of them's going to be the coward based on the trailer, and then I'm guessing the other 2 are going to be either a brother and a sister to him. They're just going to either be bullies or just kind of always be ahead of him. And you think, obviously the big egg is going to be his big brother, and it's well, of course he is. But having Arlo, the small one, coming out of that huge egg is it's a really fun visual gag moment. 2, it's a really great visual story moment by immediately showing the first thing we see of Arlo is him cowering inside of his huge eggshell, and he's a lot smaller than everyone else. It's a really great moment there. I need to stop touching my nose. But yeah, it's a really, really clever scene that really kind of subverts expectations there. Another one of those is the introduction of Thunderclap and the other pterodactyl guys, or pterosaur creatures, where they're coming in, because at that point you are already getting the feeling that, okay, this is a Western world, and clearly different people have like different outlooks on the whole thing. They have like, they're filling up their own roles. Like, it's the whole Cars thing where it's like, where it's just, it's our world, or it's a Western world with dinosaurs in it. So you're wondering like who fills in what role. And when you see the pterosaurs flying over and they're looking to help people, you're like, oh, okay, well obviously that kind of makes sense. They're helping people out. They're like search and rescue. But part of your mind is still a little bit questioning, because you're like, wait, was there really search and rescue in the Midwest, like in the Western times? I don't really think there was. There wasn't a whole lot of like, people going out and helping others. And then when they reveal that, yeah, they're just eating like animals and stuff and like little furry creatures, it's like, oh, okay, and it kicks your brain into high gear. Again, it's a nice little subversion of expectations, and it plays on like the little thoughts in the back of your head based on your expectations of the material and stuff like that. Yeah. So, the bad. There were a few parts I didn't really like. I didn't like as much as anyways. Until he gets braver, until he completes a story arc, Arlo's a little bit kind of annoying, to be truly honest. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Arlo as a coward is kind of overdone in my estimation, because it would be one thing if he was just scared of like noises and whatever. That's what a kid's always scared of, like little things and noises and like bigger things than they are. But the fact that like he's scared of a little bug flying on his nose, and I know it's supposed to be a cute moment there, because then his dad blows on it, it's like it reveals the fireflies, which is jaw-droppingly beautiful. It's a bit much. It's a little too overdone, in my opinion, because it's easy. Like when I have a fly on my nose, even when I was scared of them, I was just like, get it off, So it's a little hard to relate to that. The animation style is a little cartoony, and this has been the biggest like complaint against the film, is that how could you make the background look so great, but the dinosaurs all look so cartoony? I actually kind of think I know why. Because they figured out early on that Spot had to resemble some sort of dog. Basically, that's pretty much the entire joke of his character, is that he's a dog, but he's a human. But in order to do that, they can't create a human looking realistically. Otherwise, he can't properly do the dog thing, and it's a little bit weird. You're cool, buddy. So they couldn't really do that, and they knew that from the get-go. So they had to make Spot look cartoony. But if Spot's cartoony, they had to make all the other dinosaurs look cartoonish as well. Otherwise, there's a contrast there, especially between Arlo and Spot. It's kind of an unfortunate corner they backed themselves into, but there really was no way out of that in my estimation. So it's not as great, but it doesn't really bother me, especially since I kind of have an idea on why they had to go that way. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Let me know in the comments down below. The story. So, yeah, by the way, this is a Western, through and through. Like, I was not expecting that going in. The review, the trailers didn't let anything really on that, except for maybe some of the accents, but that was about it. But yeah, it is a Western without the cowboy hats, which is kind of nice actually, because it's nice seeing a good Western. We haven't seen one of those in a while. What the hell was up with that drug trip? There's a moment in this film where they eat like some spoiled peaches on the ground and they have a freaking drug trip. I mean, I know Pixar is known to have moments that are like, there's humor in it that the kids definitely will not understand beyond the fact that it's just wacky and zany and you can just kind of go along with it, but the adults will understand a little bit more. For instance, the abstract thought scene from Inside Out, where they're getting all like broken apart and like thought in like different ways and stuff. So that makes sense. Pixar's always done those moments, but I was thinking to myself, I'm like, that's pushing it a little far, Pixar. That's okay, sure, you want to do that. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It was gut-bustingly funny, but I was kind of thinking like, there are kids here. I don't know, just my thoughts on it. The message was pretty good about conquering fear. Again, one of the best things I've always loved about Pixar is that they tackle fairly mature and fairly adult themes, and they tell them to kids, but they understand the very important dynamic that You don't have to talk down to kids to tell them how to live their lives or to inform them like how to better themselves. You talk to them. This movie, like most Pixar films, trusts its relatively young audience enough to get that message across and to absorb it and to understand it. And lately what they've been doing is actually really interesting. This, along with Inside Out, is all about accepting feelings that society tends to tell you are bad and you need to keep in control. But instead it says, like, look, they're part of life. Fear, sadness, and fear in this one in particular, they're part of life. Nobody doesn't have fear. Well, maybe some people who have severe brain damage that don't have fear, but it's normal. And the growing up part of life comes from learning about it and moving past that and learning to cope with it as you live your life. That's a really great message to tell kids. I wish I had that message when I was a kid. I'm old. Not really. So in the end, obviously the big question, a lot of people are trying to rack up their brains because it's been a long time since we've had 2 Pixar films in the same year, if ever, that I can remember. Which one's better, The Good Dinosaur or Inside Out? My personal estimation, it's nowhere near as good as Inside Out. Inside Out was really transcendent for me, and it's still one of my still one of my favorite movies of the year. Good Dinosaur is it's a good Pixar film in its own right. It's good, not great in my estimation, but let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you think about this film because it's kind of interesting. And hey, I like talking about movies, and now I kind of have a platform for, yeah. But yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you did like it and subscribed it. If you didn't like it, don't be mean. Don't give me a thumbs down. Come on, just don't be a jerk. Just click off. You can click off. You don't have to hit the thumbs down. Anyways, see you guys next time. Hey guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all of our links: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, weekly vlog that we do. Also, if you want to see more content, I did another Good, the Bad, and the Story on other shows, like Ruby, for instance, which is an online web series that you should really be checking out. And if you haven't watched it, check it out. Click it. It's right there. You can do it. Also, right here is a short film I did back in high school called The Bells. It's a nice little kind of horror short, kind of freaky, kind of spooky, a little bit mysterious. Tell me, check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, see you guys. Smell that? That's my dinosaur breath. What is wrong with me?